I would like you, if possible, because I want to keep this as interactive as possible, to stand up. All right? Just stretch your legs a little bit. So, you'll have heard this word perspective, but I want you to think of a time in your life that you have heard or thought of this word in this kind of tone, if you like. Oh, it really put things in perspective. It really put things in perspective, that. So I want you to think of something. Just the first thing that comes into your head. Right? I'll give you 5 seconds. What's the first? God, that really put things in perspective, that. Sit down if it was a bad thing or a negative thing. Yeah? This is, for me, is a terrible shame that we're wired to use that word when something is bad. Somebody got ill. Somebody lost a job. Floods. Famine. You see on TV. That's what they prey on for comic relief, children in need. You're sitting there on a Friday night with a glass of wine. It's like, oh my God, these poor kids. You pick up the phone and give a $5 or whatever. Oh, I feel better now. It really put things in perspective. Maybe the next morning you go, oh, we're so lucky in our lovely house and so on. And then by the afternoon it's like, yeah, like this, yeah? So I believe that we as parents should, or could at least, take perspective every opportunity we have. That's more like a philosophical thing. Just be grateful. Be grateful for what we have versus bitter about what we don't have. And that is a very, I think, societal thing, if that's even a word, societal. It's massive. Keeping up with the Joneses. They've got a big car. They're going on holiday twice a year, and we're only going on holiday once a year. You're going on holiday once a year. I don't get a holiday. It's like everyone compares because of this social hierarchy as well. Class. Everyone talks about equality, male, female. I'm like, screw male, female. It's equality across the board. Race, religion, male, female. Should just be, that would be utopian. So this is what you're going to do. Think of your children, right? How do they compare themselves in regards to, first one, their status within the sport? So that could be level, club, district, county, national. I was a bit annoyed because I was going to put like galactical or whatever, but how do they just compare themselves? Positively, negatively, optimistic, pessimistic, that kind of thing. So that's your first thing. Just speak about that for, I'm going to be quite nails with the time. It might be like a minute, 90 seconds tops. Then when you're done with that, I might move you on. You're going to speak about how they feel or how do they compare themselves compared to their peers, right? I could have put friends there. I think that's a healthier word, but they're peers, the people they compete against on a regular basis, whether it be here, whether it be in other counties or nationally, etc. That's what you're going to categorize within the sport and against their peers. So huddle up. I've got some stories about that. So the biggest story I've got from a boy versus a girl situation here was, I used to coach a girl called Joanna, and she was number 1 in Britain, probably for about 3 or 4 years. And she was a lovely, 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 lovely girl with all this stuff. Social butterfly, genuinely wanted the best for her opponents even, and definitely her friends. And she was always keen to make new friends. But she compared, when she got into that older age group, she compared herself negatively. And I spent most of my time trying to get her to believe she was as good as she actually was. The boys at that level, because quite often, coaches, you'll know, you kind of end up, because you coach 1 or 2 players at a level, you end up taking all the trips. So I would work with the British boys and the British girls under 14, under 16 at that time. The boys, total opposite. The boys are like, if you can do it, I'm all over it. Yeah, whereas she would be, she's done that, why can't I do that? Yeah, she would always be putting herself down. And I'll tell you how I dealt with that a little bit later on. But the perfect example of this was when, I think in 2008, when Laura Robson won Junior Wimbledon. This gives you an idea of how she wasn't into this, and then all of a sudden she was. She was British number 1, but she would never say it, because there were 2 girls that were better than her, but they were so good that they didn't play the domestic stuff. They only played international tennis, because why would I play county cup when I play international level? There's no value in that whatsoever. So they would never play domestically, but they were definitely the best. Laura Robson and Jessica Wren. They were literally 1 and 2 probably in the world at one point, under 12s, under 14s. Yeah. So she knew on piece of paper she was number 1, or a computer, but she knew she was number 3. But Junior Wimbledon comes, Laura gets a wild card, Joanna doesn't, she wasn't bothered, she wasn't on that kind of radar for that type of stuff, she's only 14. Laura was, so she got the wild card. She gets her way through the draw, starts beating some seeds, and all of a sudden Joanna's like, wow, I can't believe it. And Joanna and Laura are still very, very good friends. So she was so happy for her, buzzing. I sat and watched the final on TV at home. I know Joanna was watching it as well, and as soon as Laura won, I phoned Joanna. Joanna's in tears of joy. Oh, it's so amazing, it's so amazing. I've got a Grand Slam champion. Oh, she's way better than me now. She's a totally different level. She's a Grand Slam champion. I'm like, yeah, but you beat her 4 weeks ago. She's like, she's the same player she was 4 weeks ago. She just was given an opportunity and she took advantage of it. Oh, no. And that was it. I golf completely. Now, a boy in that situation, even some of the British boys under 14 were like, well, if Laura Robson could win a Grand Slam, I'm all over that. Yeah, and they were up for it. And you'll see the boys quite often pushing each other on, whereas the girls, they won't train together because they've had too many situations because there's not enough girls, so they train with boys. On the women's tour, most of the coaches are men, most of the hitting partners are men, and they've got this idea that if you play against a man, they hit a better ball. They hit a totally different ball, and they're a completely different gender. The girls should, or could at least, practice more with other girls, even if the level is not the same, because they will face that. They won't face a boy unless they change the rules. I know that some of the younger ones, they do mixed singles. So that, for me, the perspective, our job here as far as parents is concerned is to sprinkle those snowflakes at every opportunity. And all that means is we listen out for the types of conversations that you've obviously heard. Some of you saying, well, my lad compares himself unfair. And what we do is we put it in perspective. And the perspective is, and I worded this very deliberately, your child is playing a game. It's a game. It's a stupid game. Ready? Oh, 1 love. Oh, 2 love. 3 love. 3-1. Ready? Oh, 4-1. It's 1 set all, right? Now, I do these types of things a lot because I do one silly game, the coaches, you probably see me do it, where you roll a ball into a hoop, and if it stays in the hoop, you rotate the hoop back, and can you get it to go in, and you do it in teams and so on. I swear to God, if you do this, the men at the end, or the boys at the end of it, will be like, I'm amazing at rolling a ball in a hoop. Yeah, I'm the man when it comes to rolling a ball in a hoop. And then you deliberately say, you are absolutely bonkers. You are attaching your confidence and your self-worth to rolling a silly little ball into a hoop. And they go, yeah, actually it is ridiculous. It's no less ridiculous than the game of tennis. This is what I think we could do. Give them unconditional love and conditional support. And the conditions could be, I want you to just really enjoy it. I love watching you play. I love watching you challenge yourself. I love watching how athletic you are. And I love it when I see you really problem solving on the court. You wouldn't say that, but coaches might say that. Over time you might. But so that's conditional support. But I do see this a lot, the higher level up in certain parts of the world. Conditional love and unconditional support. Doesn't matter what they do, they'll get all the rackets, they'll get all whatever, as long as they win. But if they start losing, then the child will feel that the love is conditional. It's conditioned. What is the condition? If you win, I love you. If you don't, I won't. And now, even to say it kind of sticks in my throat a little. It makes me choke up a little bit, but I see it.